One picture. Hold on now. Okay. The name is Mzamo Myeki, also known as Prince Raven Orekakos Dracula Ortega. Short one is Prince Raven Ortega. Musically, I've been called that. I'm also a musician, vocalist, and the name that I've chose myself to use is Prince. And it's a lacquer story behind it. It started also in primary school, where a history class teacher told us or asked us for the next a task that we have to bring back to school is to find out our family tree. So who we are, where we derive, where do we come from. So I am a Xhosa young fella, and I have to go back now at home that time and find out who am I, or where do we come from, and all of those things. So as I was asking, my mother was telling me, okay, we're now in Nguchawe, which is one of the tribe totems that are there. Specifically, one of the chiefs, Xhosa, which is the royal side of the Xhosa realm. So when I found out this, as I was translating from isiXhosa to English, I've somewhat mistranslated a chieftain to a prince. So I went back to school excited as a young boy as I was, and now I was going to stand doing an oral, speaking towards the class, explaining to them where my origins are, which is the family. So as I was going, and I went to, and I mentioned, no, so that means I'm the prince. Everyone laughed, burst out of the laughter. So, what prince is this? A karamatung. What is a karamatung? You know, when a donkey pulls a cart. So they say, you are rocking up with this, that kind of prince you are. So they were ridiculed me, you know. They made fun of me. So later on in the years, as I was still in school, I took that name and I used it for my artistic abilities, so that I called myself Prince, you know. So whenever I do a song, I've converted that being bullied out that name, I converted it into power. So I use that for protection. That was the first defense mechanism of not getting bullied. So, and I was a good writer, even when I was a small baby, you know, small kid. I used to do poems, and every time when I have to go to a music class, I was number one. You can never compete with me. Even in art school, where we used to draw, you know, woodwork, everything that's got to do with arts and culture related in class, in school, I was dominating. So that's where even the teachers, they eventually said, where's the prince of this class? So, you know, I now obtained that respect, and people started now to transferring that being ridiculed by their name into a respect way of summoning me or calling me. So that's how I won the name Prince. So now the Raven, some years later, maybe I think I was in my mid-20s, I saw a movie by Jim Carrey. And that movie was Bruce Almighty. I don't know if you know that movie, Bruce Almighty. So there was an anchor lady there that introduced herself. And I just loved the way she exotically introduced herself. Hey, the Ortega. You know, so I was like, oh, I love that. So then it was the surname. So I was like, oh, Prince Ortega, I love this. So throughout the years, I was constructing an identity for a music appearance, you know, as a performing artist. So then I got Prince Ortega. So now where the Raven comes from. Then I was like, this name is too short, man. It doesn't have a full body. I've got the head, I've got the tail, but now where's the body? So as I was sitting, I remembered that I used to love these stories of the bird raven that they used to tell us back in the day. Our elders used to tell us about this raven bird. And I was like, this bird is like independent, you know, it does its own thing. And I collected up the stories, and now those stories inspired me, and I somewhat found myself becoming that kind of a character with that bird in terms of my hustle, you know, how I lived my life. And I was like, Yazin, let me put this raven in between. That's where Prince Raven Ortega came from. So it's basically my upgrowing, you know, how I grew up. Well, a lot of people know me as an house artist or an house vocalist musician. You name it. The quick beats and all. Though personally myself, as an artist, as a musician, as an author, I do not like to shackle myself, because you'll find me in other songs, I'm in the Afro beats, and somehow I will be swinging in the hip hop songs. So I'm just a vocalist. Anything that sounds good to me and I feel like being vocally inclined with it, that's what I will do. So I really, really do not like to shackle myself. But most of my songs, they're coming from Heavy K, Point 5, worked with the likes of Fat Cook Mahuta compilation album. I worked with Professor, Kalawa Jasmine. I worked with international artists like Gaza 467, Ambe Cameroon. What's his other brother? I just forgot his name now, but he's also that side. So I've been a vocalist in terms of being vocally collaborated or collaborating with other artists. So that's why I say I do not like to shackle myself in terms of putting myself in a genre. Then Prince is only going to be known as a genre, because I'm going to surprise you next week. I'm in a reggae beat, So yeah, that's how I could respond to that one. In music, I didn't start it like everyone, like every time I like to explain. It actually started in church. My mother started this community group whereby there were children that act drama. There was a choir involved. There was boot dancing. I don't know if you are familiar with gumboots dancing. So my mom saw that, she identified from my side as one of the children that I'm very artistic. So she took me. I'm from siblings of, we are 5 in a family. I'm the second last born. So out of these 5 kids my mom's has, she took only this one, the black sheep of the family, which they call it. And she put this kid in all these departments of this, whatever she created. She will put me this week in the choir. Next week, she'll put me in the gumboot decks. Next week, she'll put me in drama classes. And everything she did, she would always make sure, and she will always make sure I excel in these classes. If not, I'm going to be punished if I don't hit a note, I'm in trouble after classes, So she really pushed me to a point whereby I knew that she always used to say that I cannot have a child of my own that goes to these classes and does not do good. So you must be an example. I must make an example of you in my classes. I was like, oh, this woman is putting a lot of pressure on me. But it was for the best. Then after some time in church, there was a request that could any one of the families give us one child to sing for that specific event which they had. And guess who called me? My mom's. So it was also a paying thing that they did. So they're going to give that specific family a specific amount of money. So initially, that was my first gig. And I think I was 8 years old that time. So I sang a song. I even remember the song that I used to sing that day. So I sang that song, and the congregation was like, wow, hey, this boy, he's got a very angelic voice. So that was my first paying gig that I heard about, and I was 8 years old. So I started music like that. So I saw the reaction that people gave me, and I loved it. Like imagine a church of, let's say, 5,000 to 6,000 people clapping their hands and standing. I was like, oh, okay, this feels good, and I want more of this. So I became, if I could so say, addicted to it. I wanted more. So as I grew older, I started writing new, stuff, and and the person that I always go to check me on however I was doing, was always her. So I would always, maybe later on in the years now, I will always go to the studio, create something, and I put headphones in her head and say, yeah, listen. Say, no, man, I'll be listening. And she will sit there, and I have a picture. I'll send you this picture so that you can see. The other day I came from Josie to back at home, and she was sitting and listening to one of my songs, most recent ones, Khasela, which I featured A.B. Crazy. Oh yes, I also had a song with A.B. Crazy and Professor Kalawa and 467, which is Gaza, including MSK and Mr. Lou. So that recent track, I made her listen to it, and she was like, nah. How your parent will never just give you that, thumbs up. She'll say, you needed work there, and your vocals, just for me, it was not. I was like, she always gave me that. So that's how I started, basically, music. it's because of what my mom's inspired me. Yes, I love music. Yes, I was listening. When I grew up, they used to tell me that I used to listen to Tom Jones, all those other old artists. And they told me that I used to sing those songs word to word. I was like, no, guys, you're lying. They say, yes. They told me that I used to take a drumstick and I used to sing Michael Jackson song. And they actually told me that the first time I walked, I was listening to the song, I'm bad, I'm bad. That's when I started walking. And my father was like, hey, this boy started. So basically my life went in through to music, and who I am today, it was somewhat 80%, or let me say 70% of my life, it was inspired by music. Moving in photography, remember now, as later goes by, the years went by, I then interested myself to come to the Big Apple. And our South African Big Apple is Johannesburg, Gauteng. So I tried to collect up some coins, and I told my mom, and that time I was still working for this dairy product factory somewhere in the Humansdorp in the Eastern Cape. So when Heavy K wanted to do some works with me, he then communicated with me, hey man, you must come to Jozi and we need to work. And that for me was like a big thing. Going to the Big Apple, I'm going to make it in music. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I'll even leave my work for this, because this is my life. This is my love. So we planned a weekend. So I had to go to, I had to actually ask from work to give me a break a bit, or an off or leave of some sort. So I went to PE. And I chilled there. And something happened with his side that he could not, respond to me. And I tried to call and he never answered. I was like, this guy now is frustrating me. And my leave days are finishing now, because we spoke about 3 days, which is the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I had only, since I was not working on Sunday, so I only had 4 days, because I'm coming back maybe on Wednesday. I was like, hey, Monday is here. This guy's not picking up his work. On Monday late, another guy called me, which is Questa. We used to go to his studio. We used to use his studio for music. So he called me and said, my man, Heavy K is telling me that we need to postpone this thing. And he's kind of in the middle of something. I was like, what? You wasted my time, Oli. You could have just told me this. And I got so angry. That time. So I decided, look, Yazin, I can do this myself. To hell with Heavy K. I'm gonna do this myself. So I took my last monies, booked a bus. I had 2 phones. I sold one of my phones, and I decided, hey, let me just go. I'm gonna do this myself. I'm gonna be Prince Ravenwood. People are gonna know me, because now remember, emotionally I'm angry, because now Heavy K somewhat responded late to me, and now I was already in the game. My mind was already in there, and I'm coming to Jozi. I'm gonna do this weekend. I'm gonna do this. So I left, took a bus. By the time I was somewhere in Bloemfontein, I realized, Eta, where am I going? Kashagash, like, who am I going to? Who's going to receive me in Jozi? I never thought this one through. And then whilst I was in the bus, I started communicating to people in PE. Hey guys, I'm kind of stranded. I'm not stranded, but I'm telling them I'm stranded, and I'm going towards Jozi. And I'm trying to communicate with people back at home, the people that I associate myself with. Please look for me a person that I can actually come to, and they will receive me, so that I'm able, at least 3 months, I'll work my way through, and I'm out of the way. Fortunately enough, there was a guy, a young boy. This boy looks up to me in music, Toddman, his name. He then called a guy that he knows that was living some years ago in Port Elizabeth, which is Gqeberha now. He communicated with him, says, hey man, Prince is coming. Could you please receive him? The guy had no problem. So then we exchanged my numbers. So once I was through and in the bus, I was communicating, don't worry, Prince, I'll receive you, Nanan. So I was just slashing in and hammering the things. Don't worry, I'll be there for 3 months. And I said, no, don't worry, relax, chill. I got to Jozi, MTN rank. First time, I'm like, okay, I'm in the bed. I was not even nervous, funny enough, because I guess I've experienced a lot of ups and downs back at home, that I was not even terrified of what I was supposed to be terrified in Jozi. So in MTN rank, I'm waiting for the guy. I think I landed here at around about 7 past 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning. So I was chilling and I communicated with the guy. I say, okay, champ, I'm here. He says, no, I'm coming. It's fine. I'm coming. I've received your code, sharp. So I wait. 7 hit. I mean, okay, let me say 9 hit. 10. 11 struck. Midday struck. I communicated with the guy. Okay, are you still coming? No, don't worry. I'm chill. Don't worry, chill. I'm coming. Okay. I've gone for prayers later on that day. I made my prayers. 3 o'clock strike. This guy's not coming. 4:30 to 5 o'clock. I literally saw, I don't know the guy face to face, but as soon as I saw a guy coming, I already knew that was him. And by God, it was him. So I was like, yo. So I stayed from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, only was able to come. So eventually he told me, good to know, the reason why I got so late, I didn't have transport money to come and pick you. I was like, guy, you could have just told me. I would have assisted in that. You are receiving me. You could have just told, no, I didn't want to be, I was like, okay, no, it's fine. We went back home. The first thing, by the way, is that I had for to eat in Jozi was a quarter. So, and it was when I landed, I went home to this guy, and first it was about the music. Then I did some works with melody music and everything. Then somewhat I've realized with I think I need to be independent financially for this one here in this place of which is Johannesburg. So I pulled back a bit and I got jobs. I started working as a security guard in Sandton, security guard in Naledi Mall. Then as time went by, I started getting some royalties back from Samro, and fast forward, I found myself living here in Johannesburg. Even the building, I can see it from now where I am. I actually lived in that building for 8 months. It's an abandoned building where people just came and started living in there, and they built hankas there and, boards to just live. And I found a place there somehow to live there for 8 months. I created it as a shack, but it didn't have a roof. So basically I was living in the streets. So I did that for about 8 months, trying to get myself to have a place to live in Johannesburg that I can call myself. I can invite you, to chill in a sofa. But now I'm in that position. So 2020 came, lockdown, coronavirus. It hit hard. It really hit hard. Remember, I'm still trying to do my thing, So I then, because I was also selling some stuff as well, like food, quotas, I managed to open a shop somewhere in Main and End, also in Commissioner and Nugget. And I had one here in another tuck shop in Rochester building. So I really tried. But now lockdown came. It hit us all hard. And now I didn't have a financial backup to actually sustain myself business-wise. I only had a little bit to just take care of me and this duration in time that I need to survive. So I was like, what am I going to do? And I already had a camera, 550D, Canon 5 EOS different camera. And that camera I got from all these works that I was doing, trying to make ends meet there and there. And I got it from this other Zimbabwean brother of mine. He had a company called Zeke1. His name is Zeke1. He had a company called I1 Productions. So I was somewhat working along with him, helping him up with his event. So he saw that I used to like to touch the camera because there was no one that documented anything. So I took the camera. Why is there no one documenting? Where's the POE? So I was that person who used to. So he saw, and he had a lot of cameras, maybe 5 to 6 of them. So he gave me the oldest that he had. Said, man, here's a gift. Maybe you can play around with it. So, okay, right, sure. So 2020, I've got the camera. And I was bored to my wits. So I was like, living in Kensington, I want to walk around. So I had this bib that I had. So I told myself, let me pose as a media, ETV or what. Whenever the police comes, and that time there was no, what you call these things, permits, where you can go outside, we want a permit, So there hasn't gone to that time yet. So I told myself, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to pose as media. I'm shooting the MC streets of Johannesburg. And it worked. I don't want to lie. Police came, I was like, no, media man, sharp. I lied so many times and I got away with it. Till I came to Maboneng. And I saw this other brother, he's no more here now, he gone back, we call him Sira. One of our greatest characters that we have currently, that we had actually, in the photographers here in Maboneng. So he met up with me and he said, hey man, come here, come chill with us. Started chilling with him, man. He knew me from the shops that I used to open, that I had. That day, some clients came. And there's a lot of people who stole time to come and just take pictures. You know, people had birthdays during that lockdown time. So they stole moments to come and just take pictures, professional pictures in Maboneng. And there was only him that was officially a photographer there. And I was just a guy who had a camera, you know, who was not into photography. I just knew how to take a picture. You know, that's all. And my color, I remember my coloring in my settings, they were just, hey, you know when you don't know nothing, they were just bad. So that day people came and they came in numbers. They got 4 groups and 16 individuals. And there's only one guy. And the guy said, hey, you come help me out. You got a camera, my man. And people also came to, hey, can we shoot today? I don't shoot because now I know I'm not a photographer. I'm not a street photographer in Maboneng, so I am not confident enough to take you a picture, my lord or my lady. So the guy said, hey, look, come here, give me your camera, let me set it for you. Then he set it for me, how he knows how to set it, because I was also trying to actually learn how to use the camera. So I started shooting. And Aliti was, as an artist, I know what I want to see from my picture. So I immediately, without being taught, I did this, I did that, you know, so. And I saw my first sale was about 260. I was like, wow. I was like, okay, so I can make money here, you know. So I was like, okay, excited. But I stopped right then and there. I helped the guy out, but I made 260 from there. I went home and I bought myself a meal, you know, from just clicking on the camera. The next day I came, the guys welcomed me. He said, I know he's a good champ. Come, he must be part of us. And that's how I became a photographer. And inspired by that and seeing things that every day I'm experiencing at the block. We call it the block, by the way. It's Fox and Kruger. We call it the block. So at the block, I learned a lot of things, you know, because I see a lot of different people walking by, you know. I get a lot of people who've got different minds, ideas. So I got inspired to open Branch Code. Branch Code now is a multimedia company that you can come and do your photography here with us, videography, anything that is media related. So that's what inspired. So I found Branch Code and I created Branch Code, and yeah, there we are. Now it's a professional thing. And funny enough, I've literally went to online courses, and now I'm finding myself now being this photographer that has certificates to show. And you know, I'm in there, you know, and I'm willing to grow, because I've even heard now from the experience that I have, which is about 3 to 4 years, I can go to Wits University and I can do my honors. I want to do my honors. And now since I'm leaving out the country and I'm going to the United States, that will mean that I can come back and do my PhD. I can be a doctor in photography. I was like, wow, what? Really? So I'm in there. I want to do this. And, you know, so that's where I became in photography. And to a point whereby the team that I have under my belt, they've seen my leadership skills, my management skills, the skills that I have for people, you know, communication skills, and they've decided to elect me as their leadership, as their representatives, as their president. You know, and that is the guys that I got in. Okay, let me put it to you like this. At the block, we've got the Circle Society. I got there were already people in it. So they were calling themselves the Circle Society and TCS. And the people that started this thing from inception, I think it was 2014. They started at 2014. So it was 4 individuals who started it. And each and every one started to come and ask. Then it grew as in numbers. Plus minus, we are 40 people right now that we are currently in at the block. Some people don't come in between the week. Then they come in the weekends, and the ones that come during the week, they don't have time to come in the weekend. So yeah. So the TCS, the Circle Society, they've sat down, they said, we like this character. We can utilize this character to benefit us and obtain respect for us. So we elect you as our president. And so that was an honoring thing to have, you know, from a person who's, I used to call myself the last born who came in before they closed the doors. Then the same time, they elected me as their president. So currently, as we speak, I'm the person that goes out and talk or listen, because we've got community meetings that we have within the precinct of Maboneng. We've got the MDA, which is the Maboneng Development Association. I'm one of the honorable members there. The community at large, you know, whenever they want to have some meetings, they call me. now, currently, since I'm the president, they say, no, you must come and you've got a seat in the parliament. So come and sit here, you're representing the photographers. So yeah, that's how I started photography. Through all those trials and tribulations, trying it basically comes from inquisitiveness, trying to find out what is going on, how is the streets, how is the lockdown going. So that's why I always say I bumped into photography to a point whereby now I'm one of the photographers that do good works in the precinct. So I always say to my students that character, tolerance, if you want to be a street photographer, you have to have those things. Work on those things. Work on those characters, because you're going to meet up with different people. Some of them, they are nice. Some of them, they are not. Some of them, they are rude. Some of them, they don't always want to see you in front of them, and we have to be able to be tolerant and understand that you will meet up with different people. Read psychology books, try to understand the human mind, because it's going to help you. Remember, you are a street photographer, so you see mostly people than anything else or anyone else, than anyone else. So you'll have to have all these in-depth information and knowledge that you can. I'm not saying read the whole book, me, I'm also lazy to read, but I like reading. But I'm not saying read. Just try to get to understand your basics of when you stand in front of a person, how can you, interest that person to take or to buy into your business as a street photographer with the minimum equipment that you have, and to convince that person otherwise. Because some of the people, like I meet up with people that they are in a rush, and there's things that you can say to make them turn and look at you. So that's the best advice that I can at least, to give to one who's trying to, or who would love to become a street photographer, maybe in their areas. And another thing, don't just look at fancy places. Go straight to the areas that you are living in. Create something. Do something in your area so that you can actually make other people interested to also want to do whatever you are doing, which is street photography. Yeah, that's another thing that I also want to inspire other upcoming photographers or street photographers, because a lot of times we only see the glitz and the glamours of the areas, but we forget to our areas, we can change our areas to become that what we see every day. Bring media to your area, put lights, talk to the government, let them, if you're living in Katlehong, get a sign of Katlehong, do something, you never know what it can do. As long as you're carrying a camera, you said you want to be a street photographer, you've got a camera, you're street photographing. Yeah. AI, for some, it is a big assistance. For some, it is not even known. Let's not even, some people don't even know this AI in street photography. Some of them, they don't know about this. So it will depend on the knowledge first. You know about this. And what would you like to do with your street photography? How would you like to map out your street photography? How would you like to portray your street photography? So if there's any assistance that you would love to get, like for example, the example that you made, which best places in Johannesburg that has got beautiful parks? Then you take that. Then I'm assisted by AI, So it depends on what, as a photographer, a street photographer, or a photographer in general, what would you like to use that AI for, Yes, I hear about people saying that, AI is doomsday for photographers. Yeah, well, musicians as well, Yeah, well, no, I'm confident that there's people out there that are legitimately loving the authenticity of an artist. I believe someone, yes, they are lazy people. They just want their quick, fast, their AI. But I believe there's people out there that wants the original art. I believe there's people that will want to go out there and see live band played. I had a live band here in Moscow some time ago, and it was the owner was almost teary. My lord, have you been to a live show? It's so emotionally, the guys, not guys actually, they were girls actually. It was a band of girls. They played so beautifully. I was the photographer that time. I was standing like this watching them. Someone had to remind me, hey, shoot. I was like, as a musician, I was in tune. I was like there. So I believe in anything artistically that we have, for street photography, musician-wise, musical, there's always those people out there that they want that, that vavavoom, that authenticness of whatever we portray up as artists. I would love them to check out Uhlasela, I would like them to check out Uhlasela. That's where I speak really from my soul there in that song. There's another recent one as well that is called Recently. That's my latest release. It's also, you can get it on YouTube. It's called Amusika with AMUSIK. Amusika. Yes, it's under Branch Code. You can check it out there. That song also speaks right from the soul. And there I'm only speaking about music. But when you listen to it, you would swear that I'm speaking about a person. I've gotten to realize in that sound that I've lived through my life, and the only thing that kept me going was music. Whenever I had a bad day, I just made a hymn of some sort, I'll toodaloo in the bathroom, and it always used to just generate some positive vibes in me, and I'm good for the day. Even if I had a bad day, which I do, I'm human too, I'll sit there and I'll just sing, Amusika, I love the way you make me feel, I feel okay. That's one of the lyrics of the song. So I've done that track, and I wanted it to be like a verse in my Bibles where I can go back like a John 3 verse 16 type of vibes, that you will always go through to motivate you, to inspire. So out of all the songs that I've done, I picked that one specifically to be that one whereby when you look into my work, you'll select this one and you'll understand what this one comes from and what it is. Normally when I take a picture, when I'm working, obviously I will have to entice the client. So it's very rare for me to sing. So the only things maybe that you would get from me is what I say, for example, cross your legs, run like this, very good, perfect, lovely. Those are the things maybe you would somewhat hear from me when I'm actually on the block, And sometimes I will say, you did it very nice, I swear to God, I like to impersonate myself as an Italian type of, so people can just laugh. So what, I didn't expect this, So I always engage with the people humorously, so that they can feel comfortable. So I guess that's the sounds that I can give out to people so that they know, because I'm the only one who does such things there at the block, So that's the sounds I can give. One picture. Kanikume namhlanje. Kanikume namhlanje. Kanikume namhlanje. Kanikume. Dikume. Kan support kufana English. Support. What's like it was cloud 9. Next time, I'm the king. Yes. Number.